Recent U.S. tariffs on Canadian imports have led to a strong backlash in Canada, causing a widespread travel boycott. This movement is now threatening Michigan's tourism industry, which heavily depends on Canadian visitors. Canadians make up the largest group of international tourists in the U.S. With their numbers suddenly dropping, Michigan could lose millions in revenue. Businesses that rely on tourism, such as hotels, restaurants, and casinos, are already feeling the effects. If the situation is not resolved quickly, the state could face long-term economic consequences. The U.S. government recently imposed a 25% tariff on Canadian goods, leading to an immediate response from Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. In a televised speech, Trudeau urged Canadians to avoid travel to the U.S. and instead spend their money supporting businesses in Canada. The U.S. Travel Association estimates that even a 10% decrease in Canadian visitors could result in a $2.1 billion loss and the elimination of 14,000 jobs across the country. Michigan, which has close economic ties with Canada, is expected to be one of the hardest-hit states. Impact on Michigan's border cities. Michigan's tourism economy benefits greatly from its proximity to Ontario, Canada's most populous province. Every year, more than 1 million Canadians visit Michigan, contributing to the state's $26 billion tourism industry. Their absence is now causing significant financial distress. Mackinac Island businesses rely heavily on Canadian tourists, especially during the summer months. Many hotels and restaurants are concerned that cancellations from Canadian visitors will severely affect their income. Some businesses still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic may not survive another financial hit. Port Huron and Sault Ste. Marie, two border towns, have long depended on Canadian shoppers who cross into the U.S. to buy goods. With fewer Canadians traveling to Michigan, retailers in these areas are facing declining sales and financial hardship. A large portion of revenue for Detroit's casinos comes from Canadian tourists, with many now choosing not to visit the U.S. Michigan's casino industry is expecting a decline in profits, which could result in job losses. The nationwide impact. Although Michigan is one of the worst affected states, other tourism-heavy states like Florida and Texas are also feeling the effects. Many Canadians visit these states, especially during the winter months. If the boycott continues, their economies will also suffer. Air Canada has announced plans to reduce flights to U.S. destinations due to lower demand. Instead, the airline is focusing on flights to domestic locations and other international destinations, such as Mexico and the Caribbean, where Canadians are now choosing to spend their vacation money. Alternative destinations. Travel agencies in Canada report a surge in cancellations for U.S. vacations. Many Canadians are now choosing to travel within Canada or to destinations in Europe, Mexico, and the Caribbean. Flight Centre Canada, one of the country's top travel agencies, has noted a record number of rebookings. Canadians are making their voices heard by shifting their travel budgets to places that align with their values. Michigan's tourism industry at risk. Michigan's tourism industry is facing an uncertain future as concerns grow about a potential decline in visitors during the upcoming travel season. Tourism officials worry that popular destinations like Traverse City, Ann Arbor, and Detroit could suffer significant economic setbacks due to a sharp drop in international visitors. The ongoing boycott has raised alarms, particularly because Canadian travelers make up a large portion of Michigan's tourism market. Many businesses rely on the steady influx of visitors to sustain operations, and any prolonged decline could result in widespread financial hardships. Tourism is a major economic driver in Michigan, contributing billions of dollars to the state's economy and supporting thousands of jobs. If the number of tourists decreases, it could have ripple effects across multiple industries. Hotels and restaurants are among the most vulnerable sectors, as they depend heavily on travelers for revenue. In recent weeks, reports of booking cancellations have increased, particularly in cities near the border, such as Detroit and Grand Rapids. This decline could lead to significant financial losses, layoffs, or even closures. Retail shops in tourist hotspots like Mackinac Island and downtown Detroit also face challenges. These businesses rely on the spending power of visitors, and a sustained decrease in foot traffic could push many small businesses toward closure. Additionally, tourist attractions, including museums, parks, and entertainment venues, could suffer if visitor numbers continue to fall. Many of these attractions rely on Canadian families for ticket sales, and without their support, some may struggle to stay open. If the trend persists, Michigan's tourism industry could experience one of its worst seasons in years. Tariff pause, damage remains. To ease tensions, the White House recently announced a temporary 30-day pause on the tariffs. While this signals an attempt at negotiation, tourism experts warn that the damage is already done. Many Canadians have already changed their travel plans and may not return to the U.S. even if the tariffs are lifted. Public perception plays a significant role in tourism. If Canadians feel unwelcome in the U.S., they might permanently change their travel habits, leading to long-term economic consequences for Michigan and other states. Diplomacy. Michigan's tourism officials and business leaders are pushing for urgent measures to repair cross-border relations with Canada, emphasizing the need for improved trade policies to prevent economic fallout. The ongoing tensions between the two countries have raised concerns about negative impacts on Michigan's tourism industry and the broader U.S. economy. One of the key steps proposed is launching targeted marketing campaigns to restore confidence among Canadian travelers and entice them to return. Additionally, policymakers are exploring economic incentives, such as financial aid packages, to support tourism-dependent businesses that have suffered due to the ongoing trade disputes. Business leaders are also advocating for immediate trade negotiations to resolve tariff conflicts before the situation worsens. These diplomatic efforts are crucial to maintaining strong economic ties and preventing long-term damage to businesses on both sides of the border. By prioritizing collaboration and strategic planning, Michigan hopes to ease tensions and foster a stable economic partnership with its northern neighbor. Strengthening these relations would not only benefit Michigan's tourism sector, but also contribute to the overall economic health of the United States and Canada. Addressing the issue through diplomacy, financial support, and targeted outreach could pave the way for a more cooperative and prosperous cross-border relationship. Economic impact. Canada is Michigan's largest international tourism market, with Canadian visitors significantly boosting the state's economy. Nearly 46% of Michigan's international tourists come from Canada, spending an average of $500 per trip. This spending benefits local businesses, including restaurants, hotels, retail stores, and entertainment venues. The tourism industry relies heavily on Canadian travelers, supporting thousands of jobs in hospitality, retail, and entertainment. Proximity and strong economic ties encourage frequent visits, especially for shopping, sporting events, and leisure activities. As a result, Canadian tourism remains a crucial contributor to Michigan's economic growth, helping sustain various business sectors across the state. The road to recovery. With summer approaching, Michigan's tourism sector faces the challenge of recovering from the Canadian travel boycott. The state must take proactive steps to attract Canadian visitors again, ensuring its economy does not suffer long-term setbacks. One crucial strategy is launching marketing campaigns that highlight Michigan as a welcoming and attractive destination. These efforts should emphasize the state's natural beauty, vibrant cities, and hospitality. Additionally, policymakers must work toward fair trade policies that prevent further disruptions in cross-border travel, ensuring a smoother experience for Canadian tourists. Strengthening relationships with Canadian businesses and travelers is also essential to rebuilding trust and encouraging visits. For now, Michigan must adjust to a temporary decline in cross-border tourism while focusing on long-term solutions. The way the state handles this crisis will determine whether its tourism industry recovers quickly or faces prolonged struggles in the future. In conclusion, the ongoing trade tensions between the U.S. and Canada are putting Michigan's tourism industry at risk. With Canadian travelers choosing alternative destinations, border towns and major attractions are experiencing revenue losses. If the issue remains unresolved, many businesses could face permanent closure, leading to job losses. Maintaining strong ties with Canada is crucial, not just for tourism, but for Michigan's overall economic stability. As negotiations continue, Michigan must focus on rebuilding trust with Canadian visitors to ensure a prosperous future for its tourism industry. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and support our channel. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you.